Today we have a very spicy video because we have a situation when the pair meet each other, they fall in love, but they married other people. And then they met again and the affair started, after which there was divorce from both sides and they marry. So this first marriage was, we could say, like a destruction for them. So we will look how this is seen in the chart, all of these stages. I think that is a very good time because it resonates with what is happening now in the viral internet scene. We have this Coldplay gig cheating of the CAO and the HR chef. So that is also quite interesting. I'm torturing my Vedic astrology teacher, Visti Larsen, who belongs to Shira Chaitanya tradition since 2004. And I went through 3 major courses, the Jaimini Upadesha Sutra, the Parashara Jyotisha course, and Mantra Shastra. So maybe you will find some valuable insights in this video. At the end, we reveal whose chart is this. Maybe you'll get it already in the middle. So let's roll the intro and start with the first stage. So now the big question, the big dilemma, the nature and the nurture. On the left side, we have this socio-economic data as the most important factor in achieving the success, right? So we talk about the privilege, about the classism and so on. On the right, however, everything is very much hyper-individualistic. I've attained the success. Everything was my effort, my resilience. I went through the hard times. So that whole success belongs only to me. And then we have this karma. This is an interesting one because on one hand, it's like the birth roulette, right? It comes as something which we inherit, but on the other hand, is also the outcome of our actions, right? The karma, how we live in today's world, our chances and our status, all that thing is also somehow connected to what we did in the past life. Now, the first one is the timing of marriage. Of course, this is most important topic on this channel, maybe because of my Jupiter in Libra. And also we see that there will be a difference between how the dasha is showing time of marriage and how it shows the time of that start of the affair, because we have the date of these events for both, so we can check how this is activating the plants in the chart. So in this chart, 3 dashas can work, right? We have the Dvisaptati dasha because 7th lord is in the ascendant, of course the moon Vimshotri, and we have also the variation because moon is in the 12th. That special variation is called Adhana. So if you have moon in 8 or 12, you can experiment with the special type of Vimshotri, which is called Adhana dasha. I promise it will give you much better results than the moon Vimshotri. Now, of course, there will be different theories for how to see the time of marriage. Some will say it's the 2nd house, the family. Some will say 7th. For some, it will be, it has to activate the Venus, right? From the beginning, we are having the same rule for that. The 12th house in the Rashi and the 7th in the Navamsha has to be activated, right? It seems easy, but there will be many candidates, and therefore you have to find the common time and find which of these candidates will really bring that event. So that takes a bit of time. Of course, if you're a beginner, sometimes you will get lucky. So Saturn, Ketu, and Saturn, Jupiter. This is quite interesting because these 2 lords, they are loading Pisces. In the Navamsha, we have both lords of the 7th house, right? So very interesting things. Both lords of the 7th house of Taurus, Moon, and Venus are in the Pisces, which is loaded by again 2 lords, Ketu and Jupiter. And in one dasha, it was sub-period of Ketu. In the other, it was sub-period of Jupiter. Now, how does activate 12th house in the Rashi? Also very easy. They are dispositing the things related to 12 in the Rashi and 7th from the Sun. So 7th from the Sun is the Saturn in the Rashi chart, and Saturn is in Sagittarius. Now, Venus and Moon, which are in 12th house in Rashi, are in Pisces, in the Navamsha. So Navamsha dispositor. On the Antardasha level, very often it will activate the planet in the Rashi chart through Navamsha dispositor. This is one example how it works. We also know that this person was belonging to army or military, and we can see 10th from 7th, which is showing career life of the first spouse is Aquarius. Saturn is Lord, and it has the nice yoga with the Mars. So Mars-Saturn is military and things like that. It can also give other things like property. And guess what? This person was also investing heavily in property. So now in the second point, it's get interesting because now it is the start of the affair. Interesting thing is that they also met when they were single. And then that was the first time when the love sparks were flying around, but they didn't expand the situation to the institution of marriage. They married someone else. Then they met again, and now the affair is starting. Now Upapada is in Pisces. It cannot jump to the seventh house. Those who studied Jaimini Upadasha Sutra will definitely agree with me. And we have a second lord from Upapada, which is showing the sustenance. We have this Mars-Venus yoga. This is related to Bahus tree, many relationships. So not the best situation, especially in the Kamakona, so in the 7, 11 or the third house. And then we have also the master of scandals, Rahu. Also, if you dig a little bit deeper, Upapada is in Libra. And this moon and the Venus will be also in the Trikonata Upapada, and Venus is lording the Upapada. So when that dasha, sub-periods of moon and Venus are coming, they will try to give birth to the second Upapada in Libra. So when it started, in one dasha it was Saturn Moon, in other it was Saturn Venus. So always this Moon Vimshotri will work. The variation Vimshotri also will work, but it will be more personal. See how the 12th house got activated again, right? So if you have many planets, especially Venus in the 12th, it's not the best, right? Because even if you are married, the candidates will still come, right? You will say, I'm already married, I don't need that, but they will somehow come, right? Of course, it depends on Navamsha, how it will develop. So now we have two important lessons from this. We have seen how 7th house got activated in the previous timing of marriage. Here we have a direct activation of the 12th house. Remember, in the previous one, we were doing that through the Navamsa Dispositor. In this time, we have direct planets in the 12th house. So maybe we could say that if the Navamsa Dispositor has activated, it may come through the filter of Navamsa. It can mean the spouse could be more proactive, right, in Navamsa. There could be also other explanation to this, like the Navamsa is some big karma from past life, which were like brought to you as obligation, right? Many people are married, especially in the Asia and Africa, which could be more like social obligation. Then maybe those type of yoga formation will activate that. But now, when the lover comes, when the affair starts, it is her 12th house, right? It's her physical body. Now she feels this very much, very strong. Second lord from Upapada is with Rahu, right? So if there will be some break, it can go to the newspapers, right? Especially in the Taurus. A lot of people are in that picture, in that karmic story here in the Taurus. In the Badak also. And then we have divorce. Again, these two dashas are nicely dancing. One is showing sub-period of Mars, the other sub-period of Rahu. So both are showing the thing, right? We can use both of them and find a common periods. We can derive that maybe the rishis were doing that because in the Faldipika we have some shlokas. Faldipika is an ancient astrological text which say that if a few dashas are showing the same, it can be important period. It was about the variation of Vimshot. And here, this is the third time it's working, right? The timing of marriage, dasha dance. Second, we had this affair. It was Moon and Venus, dasha dance. And now again, the synchronity of Mars and Rahu. Rahu is the 8th lord. In the Navamsha, Mars is in the 8th. Rahu is aspecting the 8th. Rahu is aspecting the 8th lord. Mercury is giving results of Rahu. So a lot. Rahu can give definitely end of marriage, right? Whatever will activate that Mercury and Mars will activate divorce because 8th house in the Navamsha shows divorce. Of course, the haters will say, oh, it's only justification. You are doing this post-mortem analysis, right? Maybe. Maybe if you could add a few other dashas, it could be even more clear when that 8th house could activated. But so could we predict that without knowing it? Maybe. We need to have more faith in ourselves. Okay, guys, if you'd like to have the chart reading analysis with me when we are analyzing your chart, your Rasi Navamsha, your Vargas with the Dashas, we are trying to understand what those specific yoga mean in your chart, then you can find the link in the description. And now you can see how these points all connect. Now we are going to the fourth, the scandal. How to see the scandals, right? Is it the first house of name or is it the 10th house? Some say it's a 10th house. Some say 10th from the moon will show how popular we are. And they will not be wrong because even the holy Sharavali says the same. Also the ancient texts of Kalya Nalvarma. But 10th from moon is here, Jupiter in Libra. This is kind kingly combination here, right? Night Lord in the fourth. A lot of freedom is somehow given to that person. So how to see if you will have those scandals or you can cheat in the relaxed way? To answer that, we need to go to the stage 5 of the chart, the reading analysis, right? Remember in the last video, we were mentioning those exotic names like Varnada, Vishesha, Aruda, and so on. So Aruda is the answer because Aruda shows how people perceive you, your social standing. And it has somehow touched Rahu. Here, like in the Bill Clinton's case, we have Rahu on Aruda in the Venusian sign. And the divorce was in Mars and Rahu, right? Connected to exactly that Aruda. So we can see that the Antardasha planets are activating the Aruda. They were nicely showing the end of relationship and also how it impacts the person's name here in the negative way. Now we could derive a principle, again, research, observation, how to see from where this scandal may come. 7th Lord is in the Lagna Malefic, Saturn, Marana Karakastana. So maybe it comes from the 7th Lord, right? But Saturn in Cancer is also something which is called throne yoga. Kingly combination. So the people which come to you may also have a big status. Even the first spouse was very high in status. Not so big like the second one in comparison, but if we compare it to our everyday man's life, still big status. So who's that chart? It's a Queen Camilla's chart, who is married to Prince Charles. Very interesting chart, and you may learn a lot from it. So I will give you the link in the description. There are many, many events available. The documentation of her life is quite huge. So, and also the Rodin rating, the source of the birth time is accurate. So very nice chart to learn many things. Like, for example, Navamsha Parivartana between that Jupiter and Venus, right? Because we remember the affair was in Venus and the moon. So there was some exchange of spouses going on. Okay, now about her queen status, because now we know whose this chart is, right? We can see this moon and Venus is in the 5th in Navamsha and in the 5th in the Dashamsa. In the Rashi, you will say, oh, it's in 12th house. There is no 5th, right? But interestingly, from Lagna Lord to Jupiter, again, we have 5th. And why it's in the 12th house? I was looking in those biographies. Did she lost some property? Did she moved abroad? No, she was living in London. Anything. Mother, maybe she lost the mother in early age. Yes, there was some indications for this. It was not early age. There was some osteoporosis, ailment, all that. But in this chart, there is even something more here. Lagna Lord Moon, Ascendant Lord Moon, which is her, maybe her ideals, maybe her freedom, has to be sacrificed when she joins that family, right? So why it is happening? The moon is losing the war with Venus. Maybe she needs to lose some of her personal life and now acquire a new skin, right? New image, because the Aruda is now working. The moon, especially the Venus is the lord of the Aruda, which is conquering the lord of the ascendant. And how we know that it is the family and it is when she moved to that house or to that castle, right? It's all very protected. You can even see in the D4 when she moved, it was activation of Mars Ketu. So it's like some 4th. Exactly at that time when she moved to the house, also this date is available, it was period of Moon and Venus. Exactly those two planets. And they are in the 2nd from Aruda, which is the new family. So she is joining the new family. Is that family wealthy? Do we have some wealth yogas? Do we have maybe Nicha, debilitation, exaltation, or Atmakaraka aspecting 11 from Aruda Lagna? Also, we are teaching that from the beginning, right? So we have some patterns, we have some rules which are working all the time. 11 from Aruda Lagna is aspected by Moon, Venus, and Atmakaraka. Wow, it's the 2nd from Aruda of the family. And exactly she joins that family in the Moon, Venus. And it is in the Navamsha in the 5th house, it is in the Dashamsa in the 5th house. Imagine you are using the tropical zodiac in Vedic astrology. Everything would be wrong, right? You would not get at that synchronity. Or imagine that whole synchronity is just a random thing, right? So there is level to skepticism to astrology. Okay, guys, so we will end here. If you like to watch another royal chart analysis, then please consider watching this one.